This is the bomb. This is Stanley Kubrick. This is Stanley Kubrick.
A title sequence, which he's done so many of, can really set the tone for a movie.
Of course, the positioning of the credits in a movie is huge because it's the first thing you see. Just like meeting people, it's a first impression.
He's one of the very few who've worked in his particular métier, which is titles, who receives credit for their titles.
When every single image, including the title and the way the title is presented, begins to have an effect.
So my agent got a call from Stanley Kubrick, who was working on a film about the end of the world, some sort of a comedy. He saw my reel and he wanted me to do his trailer, even though I have never done the trailer before.
This is Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, he hired me before I got there. He says, I want that person to do this job, and let me talk to him and see what he wants. He knew about me, he knew about my work, he did his research, and I didn't know anything about him.
He always took us with him. We traveled a lot. He was just absolutely the best fun. It was very exciting. And he was just very, very cool. Really a real pro, and yet he was real daddy.
Welcome to a brief lesson in the history of trailers. A trailer is an advertisement for a film about to be released. The first trailer was projected in 1911 when the following 18 words flickered on screen for 15 seconds. This is an average 1950s trailer.
Yes, it came from outer space to bring you unforgettable suspense. Who were the all-powerful creatures it brought from outer space? And what did they want on Earth?
Not effectively positioning the film in the marketplace. And this is Pablo Ferro's contribution, widely considered the first trailer of contemporary times.
Attack!
Russia.
Oh. 10 females to each male.
Every now and then, somebody would come along with something fresh and different. Hitchcock did his own trailer.
And in this house, the most dire, horrible events took place.
And they're distinctive. And they were very much taking advantage of his public persona.
A split second off timing and...
Cecil B. DeMille did the same thing, and he had a large public persona.
No, it's not make-believe.
And of course, Orson Welles made a classic and famous trailer for his first film, Citizen Kane.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Orson Welles.
But those were the exceptions to the rule. When Dr. Strangelove's trailer came along, no one had ever seen anything like it. It was sending a very loud signal to the audience, this movie's different. We're showing you a commercial for it that's utterly contemporary and completely different. Perfect match.
We sold a lot of tickets. A theater in Texas made an ad out of it, said, come and see the wildest trailers ever made.
Perhaps if they went to see experimental films at the Museum of Modern Art or at avant-garde film festivals, maybe they would have seen something that approached that technique.
Where's the bathroom? Dr. Strangelove.
But even there, they might not have seen what he pulled off in that trailer.
Love the bomb. A moving picture.
When I finished the trailer, Stanley asked me to stay on a little longer to set up the movie with an opening title sequence.
The ultimate weapon, a doomsday device.
We were having a conversation, and then he asked what I thought about human beings. And I said, everything that humans invent is always very sexual. All the machinery, it's always like that. We looked at each other and said, B-52 refueling in midair, of course. So that's when I got the idea to do the tall lettering. Together it worked. You were able to see the lettering and the plane at the same time.
It set the tone for the film so that people weren't afraid.
Is it a black comedy? Are we allowed to laugh? Which is a big thing. That's right in the front of Strangelove. Seeing those two airplanes and saying, I think this is funny.
They were so crude and so childlike, yet so sophisticated.
Dr. Strangelove was immediately celebrated by critics, by a lot of members of the audience, by many social commentators, and as we learned years later, even by some members of the American government. It was a brilliant, and remains a brilliant, black comedy, and Kubrick, a master filmmaker at his very best, at the height of his powers.
And Pablo, he was Kubrick's guy. This creative, odd fellow that we'd never seen anything like him.
Tremendously in touch with the changing times and tastes in the 1960s. He's associated with key films that really speak for their time, speak for their era. Dr. Strangelove would be one. The Russians Are Coming, which was the first time that he worked with Norman Jewison.
You don't utilize a sauna traditionally. You stay in there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you got to lie down in this thing. Let's see what we got here. We were working with Hal, and a phone call came into Hal's house. It was a call from my father, and it was Stanley, and he was saying he wanted him to come and look at this film. And my father's very honest about what his situation is, and he always has been. You know, I'm working with Hal, and I've got this schedule and everything. He said, well, don't worry about it. We'll just, you know, you could get on the Concorde. Get on the Concorde. It's a great ride. And I think my father was used to being accosted by Stanley at the time. I mean, Stanley would just kidnap the whole family and utilize Pablo's and his work and his ideas until he was done, and then say, now you could go home now. And it wasn't in a malicious way. I mean, he would do that. He would take care of us. I mean, he flew us all over there, put us up in a nice place. You know, I went to school there. It was all on Stanley's dime. But I think that maybe my father, he may have voiced a little bit of resistance at the time.
Who is it? Excuse me, missus. Can you please help? There's been a terrible accident. It's a matter of life and death.
I'm sorry, but we don't usually let strangers in at the minute.
He showed me the picture, and I went home, went to the hotel, and I locked all the doors. So I was very paranoid. I saw my film. And I heard the William Tell overture. I said, that's interesting.
dun, 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 dun. One frame is in and one frame is out. Looks like it's an effect like almost three-dimensional.
A Clockwork Orange was one of those movies that had people talking. It was the buzz of the moment. And so for months you'd have people saying, have you seen A Clockwork Orange? I mean, some people were appalled, some people were reviled, some people were bowled over. It had a whole range of opinions, but everybody had an opinion. It was one of those films.
Same as it ever was. 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 Same as it ever was.
So when it comes to Stop Making Sense, we were talking about, well, what kind of credits should we have? And it just tickled me so much, and it tickled David Byrne so much, to say, you know what? We've got the guy that did the credits for Dr. Strangelove, the greatest credits ever seen on any film. I don't care what the budget was, what the film was. These are the great credits. Let's shamelessly, not rip off, but shamelessly make an amazing salute to Stanley Kubrick and to Pablo Ferro by recycling this concept for our movie. It tickled him to death, and we went forward and did that.
He sees art in everything. Everything can be used. He doesn't discern high art from low art. Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. He sees meaning in everything.
He's very sophisticated in his ideas. I think he lives in a world of ideas.
Who is Pablo Ferro? He's a red scarf. He's a warm hut. He's a good man.
When you evoke his name, there's a kind of energy and a humor and a goodwill.
Pablo Ferro himself is a rather unique force of nature. He's like a walking work of art, you know.
Catch you later.